Welcome, everybody, to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. My name is Abraham Luis. I'm back with that damn Dirty Duck Matt Page and the SoCal Seahawk. I'm not Brian. Sorry, Rob English. Brian, the Soulman Solak, is on the boards. And we're going to talk this week about, well, guys, let's talk about our Seahawks and how miserable they were this week. Baltimore Ravens. They were bad, guys. And I know, Rob, you told me so. You told me that was going to be a disaster. I didn't believe you.
We didn't listen. We didn't listen.
I didn't listen.
Um, yeah, it was. I mean, listen. I predicted the loss. I didn't think it was going to be quite that bad. But yeah, it was certainly. It was ugly. I don't believe that truly cheered even once the whole afternoon. I don't think I don't think I cheered the whole morning. I don't think I actually did my typical scream yes or jump or clap or anything like. Yeah, I don't think I did it even once the entire game.
How about when it was
really.
over? Were you like, thank God?
Oh, when it was over, yeah, yeah. I think that was probably. I'm like, all right, well, that was that. This was one of the very few times that I ever kind of stopped watching. Like, I didn't turn the game off, but I just kind of like, I got to wash some dishes or something. You know what I mean? Like, I know I usually watch every single play, but by midway through the third quarter into the fourth, it was like, all right, I gotta vacuum, but the
All,
game was
all,
still on.
all of a sudden, you became really invested in those beer commercials.
Right, right, or like house, chores and things like that that I
Yeah.
normally wouldn't be invested in.
It was a more of a, yeah, relief. Oh, okay, it's over. Okay. Thank
Right.
God.
All right, so guys, with Geno Smith, I mean, I really wanted this guy to turn it around this year. It's a trend now. He's not getting better. He's not making adjustments, and maybe that could also be on Shane Waldron, the coaching staff. But do we make the move to Drew Lock? Do we start thinking about it? Do we start discussing it?
I guess I'll go first. I'm not convinced Drew Lock is an improvement, an upgrade.
Yeah.
Um, that's the real problem. I think expecting some regression from last year was probably realistic for Gino. He's always been. I mean, he's always going to be a bridge to the next quarterback, and I don't think that the next quarterback is on the roster. So it's just a matter of he's a game manager. Don't expect a franchise player out of him or franchise quarterback. And I don't think Drew Lock is the answer. I think part of it is coaching. There's some of that I want to touch on in a little bit, but um, a little bit of regression to the mean was expected. I think in terms of your trend that you're referring to, but he went up against one of the game's best defenses. You gotta take it with a measure of salt here. This
No, I'm
performance.
not going to do that. I'm not going to accept that. I hate that whole argument because how often did we see last 2 3 weeks um, the defenses were good. They were good. I mean, obviously the Ravens very good, but you can't just go through three teams in a row and just be like, that's a better defense than and just accept it. Like you have to change up what you do. I mean, I think I sent you guys a message. How many plays do we have where we send three receivers out and nobody's running a short pattern?
Yeah. No, I mean I agree in terms of long term, absolutely move on, but I don't think the solution is on the roster at the moment. So I think right now we have who we have, and to finish the season, your trade deadline's passed. Can't go out and trade for, well, Kirk Cousins wasn't on the market anyway, but you can't go out and improve at quarterback anyway. So um, this is it as far as the conversation is considered. In the draft coming up next year, it's going to be heavy on quarterbacks, and you get your replacement. But for now, I
So
don't think Drew Lock is the answer.
SoCal.
Yeah, listen, you 100% absolutely do not move from Gino right now. And frankly, I hear your argument, Abe. But listen, Gino has had defenders, very large men in his lap on a regular basis for the past at least 3 weeks. And we were able to find a semblance of success in through some of that time, but you just simply can't expect the player to be able to perform at a high level in that situation. It falls now. There is a measure of responsibility, right, or liability on Gino, to keep the ball in our color jerseys, keep the ball in our guys' hands. But he's gonna be damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. If he holds on to the ball and doesn't throw the pick, doesn't even put the ball up there to give the guy a chance, he's indecisive and he's taking too many sacks. If he throws the ball and it gets picked off, he's making bad decisions. He's got men in his lap every single time he drops back to pass. When Gino has time in the pocket, he puts the ball where it's supposed to be. A couple weeks ago, he made an amazing play where he spun out of a tackle and hit Tyler Lockett in the back corner. It was an amazing play. When he has the time to deliver, he certainly does. But no, this falls squarely on the play calling. Shane Waldron needs to figure something out. But it's a we got to figure out what we got to do here, because if you keep guys in to block for Gino, you got less guys to go run the routes. You're kind of caught in a catch-22. But I'm in no way putting this on Gino squarely anyway, not squarely. You said earlier he's a victim of his own success from last year. He was amazing. He was record-breaking. You don't do that 2 years in a row. It would be foolish to even expect it. So, this is the offensive philosophy thing.
Your answer for the Drew Lock question, though, is
no. You don't. No, you don't move to Drew Lock. Drew Lock put it like this: even if the reality were that if Drew Lock came in, we went to the Super Bowl, right? Even if that were the reality that we just would never know, I still say you stay with Gino, because you just don't make a move like that in this sort of situation. You just don't do that. It wouldn't be wise football at this junction to make that move.
okay. Fair enough. The question you brought up, or I guess the question mark you brought up, was the offensive line. There was an interesting stat about only one of our offensive linemen, Bradford, the rookie out of Mississippi State, I believe it is. He's the only one like in the top 30 at his position. What's with the regression? And I mean, we can't fire everybody. Did we just have bad players? Is that what this is, or?
I think the source of the issue is playtime and injuries. It's injuries. We our entire offensive line. I mean, everyone's been out with injuries. I think as they're healthier now and as they're coming back, we had both guards, the center, and one tackle in every single snap this game, and that was like the first time that we'd had some real continuity the whole game. Peters and Forsyth swapped to the other spot, but we had some continuity. I think as the season goes by, we'll get better. The ratings, the judgment will come up on those players. It's just if you're playing banged up, you're not going to have the best stats, and you're not going to get the continuity. You're not going to get the chemistry. That's the word I'm looking for. That will help Gino have the time, like Rob was talking about.
Other teams don't have banged up offensive lines.
No, other teams do, and it's absolute chaos. Look at the Giants, the New York Giants, and how bad they were against us. They're an absolute train wreck. They've got they could put me out on left tackle and it'd be an improvement. That's what happens when you don't have continuity. You have hurt guys.
Yeah, I don't know if it's always fair to just say, well, other teams have injuries too, right? But that's not apples to apples, right? Like these teams, they have, they work during the week, four days out of the week to get this continuity, like Matt says. And when you drop a guy, this guy gets hurt, that guy gets hurt, the continuity is not there. So it's a construct. It's a whole thing, because I can't find my words right now. It's a whole thing, and sometimes that thing is sometimes that thing hurts worse for certain teams than it does for others. You got to find a way to work through it.
Well, how about the failure then in relying so much on rookie offensive linemen? Last year, we relied on 2 rookie tackles. This year, Uluwatimi, the center, and Bradford, rookies. That's your depth, are guys who haven't played that much together.
Well, we're relying on, to your point, there are 2 rookies for a center and a guard, and they're the depth. They're the backup. We're not starting two of them like we did last year.
Bradford starting due to injury.
Who's starting?
Anthony Bradford.
Bradford didn't play a snap this game.
Yes, he did.
I have the snap counts right here, and Lewis, Cross, Haynes, and Evan Brown played 49 snaps on offense. And then
Bradford
it was Peters and Forsyth on the right tackle.
Forsyth, yeah, okay, got it mixed up. I mean, they're the same age, 42 and 21.
Yeah, totally. No, so I'm fine having rookies for depth. That's where else are you going to put them? I mean, that's it's fine to rely on them for that role, for a reduced role that you'll get them in garbage time. You'll get them reps and you'll groom them. You'll train them up and develop them. So no, I don't see a systemic problem here. Bradford is highly rated, and Forsyth isn't necessarily highly rated. Jason Peters is definitely highly rated.
So far, yeah, we have to just figure out, what to do to get Geno another second in the pocket, a second and a half maybe. I mean, he's got to be able to go through his progressions. People keep wanting to blame things on him, and you got to think about, you have to out every passing play. The quarterback has to go through his progressions, and if Geno missed a wide open receiver, but what number in the route tree was that receiver? Right, you have to look. You go through the progressions, and if somebody breaks open, if DK breaks open, but he was third in the progression, it's like, well, he's not going to have time to get to his third receiver in in the tree, because he's got guys jumping on his neck.
Well, and maybe maybe we use the 3 tight ends set more. Like I mentioned the snap counts. Mm-hmm. Will Dissly was only out for 11 snaps this game.
Right.
I mean, maybe get him in there more. He's our blocking tight end. Get him in there blocking. Buy that extra, get that extra blocker and then use him.
By the way, I'm going to have to bring this up like every week, apparently. Kenny Walker can't pass block. Why do they keep insisting on rolling him out there?
I think because you have to have the threat. You gotta have the running threat there. I mean, he's our go-to back. Despite Charbonnet has been looking really good. Yeah. I think Charbonnet is over 5 yards a carry on the season. But yeah, that's our bell cow, Kenneth Walker. And so if you're gonna take him out every time that you're gonna throw the football, it's kind of a tell, I think.
Yeah, but he's a non-factor, I don't know if you guys seen him try to run routes out of the backfield. He can't do that very well either. He gets sucked up and stuck in the offensive line. It's like either be in the way of a defender or get out there in the flat. And he doesn't seem to do it. And I don't know if that's by design or he just doesn't have that skill. And that kind of bugs me. Also,
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think that possibly, I'm not sure exactly which part you're seeing, but that sounds like it potentially could be is when you're going out there to do kind of those block and release type plays. But I think his block is just very lackluster. So it's like, well, if that's the best effort you're going to give on your block, then just forget about it and just release. Like forget the block if you're not going to actually chip. You're not going to chip the guy or something. Slow him down a little bit.
At least go stand in his way a little bit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, his chip block is like a Nestle Toll House chip. Like it's soft and it doesn't do anything. But the other thing that kind of bugs me too. I invoke the name Daryl Bevel because this team will not throw a slant into the vacated blitz zone, and I just don't know. Like, I watch other teams; they do it. Why don't we do it? Like, is it satanic to run that play? Is that? I'll take
I,
any reason. Why don't we run that play?
I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna go with the Homer response here, and I'm gonna say that I believe that it seems so simple, the concept to us as armchair quarterbacks, but I imagine that number one, you got to remember that when the blitz is coming, when we're showing blitz, they're hiding something behind it. Like they're looking to jump routes. They're not just sitting back while you send 5 or 6 guys. They're not just sitting back there in a zone or letting those in breaking routes sit wide open. They're looking to jump those because they know the quarterback is going to have to throw the ball hot. So and then with Gino not getting even remotely enough time, I think it's that much harder to make those throws, assuming those are the routes that are run. So I'm not gonna I'm not gonna say that we are not doing it. I just think the opportunities haven't been there.
Well, then what about screenplays?
I mean, you invoked the name of he who should not be mentioned, but I mean, at this point, I'm gonna have to say maybe it's a stylistic thing with Pete Carroll. I mean, because it's been systemic, regardless of the offensive coordinator. So it might be that. I mean, I thought it was Russell Wilson just refusing to even consider such short passes, but it might be built into the offense, an offensive issue. I don't know. I'm with you. At least other offenses you watch around the league, they have built-in safety valves for that. If they don't react immediately, they make adjustments mid-game to be ready for it.
Well,
Uh,
I don't think we run the screen particularly well.
we
I
never
mean,
have.
you know
Yeah,
what I
that's what
mean?
I'm saying.
Well, yeah,
Yeah. So
It's got to be Pete Carroll. It's just not a point of emphasis for him. It's not a why waste time or something. I don't know. Maybe there's something
I mean,
going on there.
I will say there's value in throwing it out there, just if nothing else, just to show that you're willing to do it, and so
Yeah.
you have to keep the defense honest, in some ways. But I've never liked our screen game, whether it's to the running back or whether it's a bubble screen or a wide receiver screen. I've never really particularly appreciated our screen game. It always seems like a waste of a down. Maybe we get a couple of yards. Every once in a while, we get a good block on the edge, and somebody gets a good decent gain. But every time I see a screen ball, I'm like, I tense up because it just never. I feel like it very very rarely works out for us.
Well, one other thing that's required for a good screen game is good offensive line play, and for most of Pete Carroll's tenure, we haven't had a good offensive
okay,
line.
Matt, on a screen to the running back, the offense does not block the defensive players.
No, I understand that, but you need them out there running. You need them ahead, even when we do it.
Yeah,
We
they've
don't
got to
do it
get out
well.
there to protect the screen. Yeah,
Yeah, we
and you got
don't.
to have a receivers that are going to be able to make good blocks out there too. In
And Tyler
DK,
Lockett can block especially well considering his size. He actually can do it, but everyone else, I don't know.
yeah.
DK Metcalf blocks even when the whistle's done.
He
Yep.
blocks his team.
Hey, DK had the block of the year so far on that game winner against Cleveland. I mean, that was the block that made the play, you know. So yeah, maybe we just start hitting in Jigba, behind DK and seeing how that works, But you have to work it into the game plan though. I mean, those you can't go to the well too much.
I don't know. I think Shane Waldron's capable of more than what we've seen him put together. And I don't know what's going on here. But let's look forward instead of looking back. Let's talk about the Commanders coming up this Sunday, 125 game. They seem like they're on fire sale mode. Are they? Are they packing it up for the season? Do we have an opportunity to, just get an easy win? I mean, by God, after last week, we could use an easy win.
Well, they certainly won't have the defensive line that they would have had before the trade deadline. um, so in terms of our running game, I mean, if we do poorly with the run game, I will be very unhappy. But it. I don't necessarily think it's a gimme, like the Giants game was, but it should be a solid win for us. This is a team that obviously needs to rebuild. They aren't sure who their quarterback still is. I'm not sold on Sam Hell personally. They have
I think they're
they
going all in
they
on
have
it.
holes all around, so they're kind of seeing what they have. I think at this point, new ownership, new chance to kind of reset. I think they're just kind of seeing what they have.
I think because they're packing it up, they're going all in on Sam Howell. That's what my thought is.
I
Yeah.
say, listen, you wouldn't necessarily walk into this being afraid of the Washington quarterback, but I tell you what, he's getting pretty close. He's maybe one game away from doubling up Geno in passing yards. He's
Yeah.
got 14 touchdowns to Geno's 9. He's got 5 less interceptions. So or I think it's
Actually,
5.
he's got two more interceptions.
I'm sorry, two more interceptions. Sorry, I was looking at the wrong
Yeah.
number. But he's putting the ball in the end zone, and he's getting the ball downfield to the receivers. This team is a team that could, they're not going to the playoffs. They're not a contender, but they could definitely, pop a hole in your tire. And if this is a game that we could drop and really kind of screw us through for the rest of the season. This is one of those games. The rest of the NFC West is playing this team as well. We talk about tiebreakers. We're already down a tiebreaker to the Niners as it currently sits. This is a game we have to win, and this is the team that could screw it up for us.
Well, with that, let's get to our predictions here. And last week I was way off. I said it'd be a low scoring game and the Seahawks would win. It was a low scoring game for the Seahawks. That was correct. But number one or no, number 32nd ranked defense for the Washington Commanders. Um, I I'm calling it a shootout, and I think it's gonna be Seahawks 35. Commanders get some points. They get like 28, so 35-28. Seahawks.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting.
I will
Go
I
ahead.
will go with obviously the Seahawks winning, and I'm going to say the Seahawks get 28 and the Commanders get 17.
28-17. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with Abe on the shootout. I'm gonna say because of the fire sale that Abe mentioned, I think Gino's going to have time in the pocket. I think we're going to put up some points, but I think we're going to see our defense struggle against this quarterback
I think so.
who can put the ball where it needs to go. I say 35-24.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right, guys. Like always, we ended on a shout out. Matt, do you want to start us off?
I will pass.
You, you'll think of one and get back to us. So far.
Yeah, no, I know. Put me on the spot. Go ahead. Come back to me.
Um, I'm gonna give my shout out to to Russell Wilson, who is looking really good as of late. And it looks like they might be turning that franchise around out there in Denver, and they might be able to make a little push for the old postseason. I think they might be onto something over there.
Awesome. I'm going to give a shout out to my friend KT Tennyson, who's coming back to Seattle for the January 1st outdoor hockey game with the Kraken. And I guess I'm going to spend a lot of money to go to that. Uh, Yay!
Oh, it's great. Great to hear KT's back.
How
Um,
now, Matt?
now me. I'm going to give a shout out to Brian Solomon Solak because he's going to be at the game in the rain, and he's going to be why the Seahawks win. That's what he says, and I'm gonna endorse that.
Right
There we go.
on, right on. All right, guys. Well, thank you very much. By the way, gotta Rob, you gotta get your Twitter handle out there, or any other social media, Instagram, etc.
Well, keep an eye out for the podcast on Spotify, Short Yardage with the SoCal Seahawks, and it's at Rob_English13 on all the social media sites.
Excellent. And your Twitter?
At Rob_English13.
Do you want
All the social media sites, Abe.
all the social? Also, okay, all right. I just post the actual. Anyway. Save people a search. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us yet again on Seattle Sports Union. Keep in touch with us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter at Seattle Sports U. As well, check out our newly redesigned website, seattlesportsunion.com. And keep listening to our podcasts on Spotify, iTunes, Captivate FM, and now on North Beach Community TV. On behalf of Rob, the SoCal Seahawk, Brian, the Soul Man, Solak, and that damn dirty duck map page. We'll see you guys next time.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.